Sylvie in a second. Now we're live.
Hello.
Okay. Well, we got to do the.
Oh yeah, I have to. No. I'm
Just do it.
body
Just
percussion.
do it sitting down, or not, or whatever.
I'm doing the.
1, 2, 3. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the show. Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Well, today was a lot of fun.
Yes, indeed.
Freddy had a really cool idea, which was to do some body percussion with the initial idea of the lesson is teaching the inaudible beats, which we actually didn't end up talking about today.
But we did them.
So that's okay. The seed was planted. We're going to talk about that now. This is very neat because I've been trying, when Freddie started explaining, we do our planning day once a week, and when he started explaining this to me and he showed me a little bit, and I'm like, oh, this is step dancing. He's like, yeah, of course it's step dancing. I was like, no, I don't know if you know what it means. Like there's this whole, here in Europe, they don't have fraternities. They don't have sororities, at least as far as I don't know. Like there's no school university spirit. You go to school to learn, you come back. The social organizations outside of that, as far as I know, are mostly non-existent. And what he was doing, which if you watch the show, to me was exactly like step dances that I have seen performed by black fraternities and sororities in the United States of America, which has been happening for a long time.
Yep.
And he explained to me at first, like, oh yeah, this is from something called Tacatina, which is this copyrighted system. And we're going to get into all this in a little bit, but it was kind of cool to see this. We used a song called Bring Me a Little Water, Sylvie, which is an old spiritual that was most likely sung in the fields by slaves. And there was a man who's near and dear to my heart called Leadbelly who performed this in the first half of the 20th century. The way Leadbelly performed it, though, is he did not talk about those origins. He talked about the fact that he had an uncle who was married to a woman named Sylvie. And that when he was working on the farm, he would holler this out to Sylvie and it would go back and forth. And eventually it sort of evolved into a song. At least that's how he told the story on stage.
Okay.
And when I was doing some research on the song, somebody said a savvy performer would realize that if there's a personal connection to a story, it might resonate better with the audience. So maybe he did have an uncle whose wife was named Sylvie, maybe not. But more likely than not, this is
I mean, we both know that this concept works because sometimes when you play some of your original stuff,
yep.
you interact with people. Like, do you have kids? Next song is about
True.
My kid.
True.
Do you have kids? So this and that, that scenario, blah, blah, blah. Your parents or not. Like, yeah, it works. It keeps the connection between you and the audience fresh, I'd say.
I'd say so. And this was a cool one to try to sing. But there's actually some Freddie's, I'd say Freddie's a better singer than I. And there's some riffing that happens in here. Riffing, if you don't know what that is in the singing terms, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, I'm not good at it, but that whoa, when people can sort of bounce from note to note in a run, or they might call it a run, they might call it riffing.
By just using one vowel.
Right.
We're not singing la 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 la. That'd be easier, but just whoa. It's
like if you're on TikTok, Lizzo is doing a run challenge, and she actually, this is really cool.
Huh?
Lizzo, if you don't know who Lizzo is, please check her out. She's one of the top acts around at the moment. But she issued what's called a run challenge on TikTok, and I forget the name of the woman who she uses as an example, but it's a woman singing gospel in a church, and she went on this crazy run. And she essentially challenged people on TikTok to try to do it. And Lord, you saw some of these people doing this. I don't know where they come out of. Another great example of a run is in one of my favorite songs by Alton Ellis, "Ain't That Lovin' You." He does this run that's just I've been trying to nail for years and I never can.
We call it like grace notes, like singing around an actual tone. Like, yeah, it's very gospel-ish, very spiritual-ish, to like grace noting it out so it become a little more
exciting,
churchy and exciting and more beautiful in the end. And it's hard. It's hard. Indeed, it's hard.
So you did a great job of leading us through.
Thank you. So many compliments.
Well, it was cool. Freddie didn't know this, but he's going to show you now. Go ahead and just give an example of here. I won't let you just stand on the spot.
Oh, that's nice.
We'll show you what we did today. Okay.
So at first we're just going to show it, and for all the people who are just listening for the podcast, I'll deconstruct it and explain it. But first, just enjoy. Count it off. Your tempo. 2, 3, 4. Bring me little water, Sylvie. Bring me little water now. Bring me little water, Sylvie. Every little once in a while. And stop. That's it. It's all right. It's all right. But basically, first of all, because most of our audience are children, we asked, what did you see? I used my body clearly, and it was kind of orchestrated.
So what did you hear?
Yeah, right? What did you hear? And what did you see? And we have a clever girl. What's her name again?
Anna.
And Anna, like 10 seconds later, she wrote down like
he used his feet, his hands,
his legs, his hands, thighs, hands,
every single time.
So basically, what body percussion is, it is an orchestration, an audible orchestration on top of an inaudible pulse. So to deconstruct what we did, basically the pulse is bring me little water, Sylvie, for 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and what happened is we orchestrate around the pulse to make it become a little more richer, similar to the grace notes.
Well, let's do a compare and contrast. What it's like. I'm going to make the inaudible notes audible, right? And Freddie's going to sing. Ready?
Yeah. So clap the eighth notes, like bring me little water. Get out.
All right.
2, 3, 4. Bring me little water, Sylvie. Bring me little water now. Bring me little water, Sylvie. Every little once in a while.
Without.
Okay. Bring me little water, Sylvie. Bring me little water now. Bring me little water, Sylvie. Every little once in a while.
Very dynamic. Now, he actually did connect. I think in the first half you connected on the 1 and the 3, and on the second half you connected on at least the 2.
And the 3 and the 3 end. So, every little once in a while.
So, but
not sure. Okay.
But to me, I don't know if you're watching this, if you're listening, what you heard. To me, it's way more dynamic and interesting to my ear without an accompanying person hitting those eighth notes, or if you wanted to do it at quarter notes. If I just did 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yep.
All right. So
1, 2, 3, 4. we did. Clap, tap, tap, foot, clap, shh, wish, wish, foot, shh, clap, foot, clap, clap, shh, shh.
So for me, this is doing just clapping on those quarter notes. I'm a metronome. That's all I am.
That's true.
And if you've ever played with a metronome or just heard a metronome, they're boring. They're really boring. They're really, really boring. I should get better at playing with a metronome, blah, 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 blah. But it's much easier for me to play and practice against, for example, a drum pattern at a specific BPM than at a click,
Of course.
or a clap at a specific BPM.
It's a metronome, first of all, it's very far away of your body experience, because when you clap or when you tap on your chest or snap, you feel the pulse, you feel the groove. When you just listen to something for like a metronome, and a sound of a metronome is pretty static.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like the one is a little deeper click, like click, 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 click. It drives you crazy. Like when I was a child and when I was practicing with a metronome, my mother just freaked out. She was like, "What is this supposed to mean?
I'll bet you
this is like, turn it off, please." And I'm like, "No, Mom, this is a tool. You gotta understand." And she said, "It's no music." And in the end, she was right, because it is.
This is fascinating because his mother is not a musician; she's a painter.
Yeah.
And no, that's
No,
very
it's cool.
That's a really interesting thing. Your mother is such an interesting woman. I really like her. She painted that. I love that painting. So that's a neat thing. And as I get older, or as the years go by, or as I play more music, I'm more drawn to these dynamic rhythms. I'm more drawn to music that's in alternative meter. Like it's just more interesting to me than boom chick, or even just clapping on the 2 and the 4.
Yeah.
You know?
And doing it, I mean, this is an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
We create an illusion for the kids. It's a good illusion because we want them to interact, but we have to pretend we're in a big room and doing it all together. Now, the experience of what we just did is incredible when you do it with 10, with 50 people, like the people did in the church, when they actually sing those spirituals. It is an experience, but like the more people who feel the same pulse, the bigger the experience is. And really this goes straight into your heart, and it puts together all the people, not just the musicians, because it's kind of it has that gravity. You can't do it wrong if 99 people around you doing it right. You
get pulled in.
Yeah, you get pulled in. You don't have any chance to just to fail.
Yeah.
Quote, and even if you're failing, it's super
it gets
funny.
drowned out by the success.
Yeah. And everybody's having a great time if somebody's not getting it.
Well, that just brings me back to the power of the live experience. I have not yet been to a gospel church, and maybe I'll get the opportunity at some point to respectfully, of course, go and participate. But I have had the opportunity to play music with some people, with some crowds,
Mm-hmm.
but also specifically, like that thing that happens that unless you've done it and been a part of it, it's hard to explain. Like you might have been to a live concert where it happened, where everybody's singing at the same time, and you felt that connection.
Yeah.
When you do, because you then actually are a part of the creative experience at that point, which is really cool.
Yeah.
When you are on the musician side of that, right? And you are perhaps in a drum circle or in a band or singing in harmony, there's something magical that happens. Like I can't explain what goes on in my head and my heart when I'm listening to people singing in harmony, like in several part harmonies live. Like when I'm there, there's a weird, it doesn't surprise me that for years people, talked about magic and things like that, and the power of the word, because something is happening.
Yeah.
Something different is happening when you are listening to more than a 2-part harmony or 2 or more part harmony, and you're there, than when if you hear it through your car stereo or on the headphones. It's not the same experience.
No.
And when you're part of it, it's the craziest thing in the world.
It's gonna intensify.
Oh, it's like I don't have words for it.
It just amplifies the feeling of joy if you're part of it.
One of the experiences I had where that really clicked for me is I used to play at a traditional Irish session quite a bit, and I quite enjoyed it. And we play in a circle.
What does that mean?
That means that there's a table that's full of the drinks, and then all people are around it.
Okay.
You know, so all the instruments, the musicians are all pointing towards one another.
Okay.
We're not playing to the audience is the bar, which is always loud behind us, but we're louder.
Yeah.
And
okay.
The musicians are always pointed towards the middle. Yeah. And I was sitting at the edge. I was sitting in my seat, a seat like this, and I just happened to be playing, and I just happened to go like this, and my head was outside of the circle, and the sound changed. And then I did this, and I leaned in, and it was like
putting your hand underwater and
totally a dramatic, not a subtle difference. It was a dramatic difference. Okay. In experience, in sonic experience.
I guess so. Yeah.
And then when you're playing like because those are the biggest groups that I've played in the Irish sessions. When you're playing with that many people, and sometimes we have 14, 15, 16 people in the session, and you lock in.
Same with the jazz sessions. Everybody wants to play a chorus. 12 piano players. Yeah. No. But I feel it. Yeah. It's great. And good thing about music is you can't tell everything. It's expanding like the universe. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and you can live 10 lives and there's still something new.
Yeah.
And that's fascinating. And this is such an easy song, and I try, thanks again, Giovanna Wolf, for giving me basically your idea, because that body percussion part, we did it in a church. I'm playing in a German gospel choir band, whatever that means, and but the experience we had was just nice. I played last year, I think Eastern time, Christmas time, and 2 more gigs. I think it was 4 gigs, and every time, when we perform a little alteration of the "Bring Me a Little Water" song, everybody feels just
uplifted,
kind of enlightened, uplifted, call it whatever you want, but everybody goes out of the church, and I'm not really into religion, but I love the vibe. After a concert like this, you feel blessed in a way.
Hold on, we got a guest here. Hold on.
Oh, nice.
Jutta Kim.
Oh,
Hallo,
Jutta. Hi, Jutta.
Hallo, wie geht's?
Grüß dich. Hi.
Yeah, it's a really, really neat experience, and it makes me understand why people get deep into church and religion.
Did you go to church during your childhood?
When I was younger, yeah. Okay. Yeah. But we didn't sing like that in my church, right? We just didn't. It was a much different experience to that altogether.
You mean the singing and the
man, Catholic music is
yeah, I get it. I get it.
There are some good tunes, but
that's true.
But it's it's in most cases
not really modern,
unless they've got somebody. I don't mean to be completely unfair here. There are places, there are churches where they have a choir, and they have band leaders, and they arrange and they organize and they rehearse, and that uplifts and gives some of the people in the pews the motivation to sing as well. But it's just there's not quite as much of the joys I hear. There's probably my favorite instrument in the world is the pedal steel guitar.
Pedal steel guitar.
The pedal steel guitar. If you don't know what a pedal steel guitar is, imagine a flat guitar laid down, basically, floating in the air, and it's got 2 bars, and there are these pedals and levers that the person playing can push and pull with their feet that either tightens or loosens the string. So you get these whereas with my acoustic guitar, I can
bend it over.
I can bend it, but if I want to go down, I have to hit these things. So what the pedal steel allows you to do is, with your knees, control each of these strings. Your knees and your feet control whether to tighten or loosen them. And I gotta tell you, there's no sound on it like on earth. It is just electrified soul. It's the business. They play it with a steel or a metal
bottleneck
bar. In this case, it's what's called a tone bar.
Okay.
And there's an album, I believe it's called Legends of Sacred Steel or Sacred Steel Tradition, or something like that. If you look up Ludwig Wainwright, right?
Ludwig Wainwright.
Reverend Wainwright. Forgive me, I'm in Germany. I'm thinking of Ludwig all the time. Reverend Wainwright. He's one of these Sacred Steel masters, and he played. And it's
every man is called Ludwig here.
Well, yeah, they are. You feel that joy, like that joy.
Yeah.
Just like I want to. Like
it's heart touching. I know.
There are a few times in my life where I've felt like I want to go to church and listening to Sacred Steel music. I want to go to church. Or if you want to hear some secular music played with the pedal steel guitar, there's a guy named Robert Randolph who started in the church. And the story I heard is that he heard a Stevie Ray Vaughan tape.
Okay.
And decided to play secular music, which was
it's kind of special. That's right.
Stevie was dope.
Yeah. And you got to consider, like, at least it's like that in America. Most of the contemporary, like, top-notch musicians started in the church playing their instruments. Like, look at the new musicians, which are at my age, like Corey Hendry, Mike Leake, all these people. No matter if it's piano, bass, they started when they were singing as well. They started when they were like 4 or 5 years old, and look at them now. 20 years later, boom.
This comes back to what is the key factor in developing musical greatness. How much is it nature, genetics, right?
Yeah.
How much of it is nurture? Now, and that is, culture. Now, while I'm sure there are some people, you genetically have great fingers for the bass, right? You've got long surgeon hands. There are some people as singers, they've got... You having fun? There's some people, singers, but where your body's your instrument, they're built with some pipes. That said, everybody can improve their singing. I don't know if everybody can be a great singer, but I feel as though if you were immersed in a culture of music, like they are in Ireland, it doesn't make sense how many excellent musicians come out of Ireland. It does not make any statistical sense. The island, I think, has less than 5 million people. All right.
And everybody's an expert.
Not everybody's an expert.
No, I get the point.
But the number of master multi-instrumentalists that you meet is crazy. Same thing.
Fact.
With a lot of places in Africa, or if you think about a lot of the singers in America, as you rightly pointed out, they came out of the gospel tradition or some religious tradition where music was. They rehearsed it during the week. They performed it on Sundays. Yeah. They sang at home. They listened to records.
They played with the masters together,
Yeah.
And they shared, besides the music, they shared an experience with the community. And I think this is a huge thing. It doesn't make you a good musician, quote,
Right.
if you're practicing 10 hours a day. That might help for some people. I wouldn't recommend it. Like, look at Lang Lang, the best piano player in the world, is Asian guy. Like,
Right.
he plays a flight of a bumblebee in ridiculous speed. Like, it's crazy. But like, I bet his childhood was nothing but rehearsing
I have
with himself.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean,
I could be wrong, but it's so important to play
I think
with
it's a
other
mixture
people.
of what your goals are.
Yeah.
Right. If you want to be the best in the world, if you want things, if you have goals and desires for yourself that are extraordinary, then you need to do extraordinary things to get them.
Don't get me wrong. I would swap his bank account with mine immediately, but I wouldn't change my childhood. Like, I wouldn't, you know.
Yeah, and that's all right. I do, however, like, you know, as a dad, I try to be very mindful with my kids. I don't want to force them into anything. Now, if they start something, they will finish it.
Yeah.
Right. Like, if I buy them a block of 10 lessons, 20 lessons, if they start a season playing baseball, football, whatever it is, they're going to finish the season. I'm not going to let them quit
after
me
2
mid-season
sessions,
unless there are some extraordinary circumstances.
Yeah, of course.
But, you know, Freddie's teaching my daughter. And she's, you know, like, I love the girl. She's wonderful. And she does actually have quite an artistic brain and musical ear, but she's been having some hard time concentrating. And, you know, up until now, she's been complaining about the chair that she's been sitting in. And it's probably not a good idea. We don't have a lot of chairs in this office. We have swivel chairs, which is not, you shouldn't give kids swivel chairs. Pro tips, swivel chairs, no good for kids. But I told my daughter, I was like, listen, I'm going to set you up with a seat today, but you need to concentrate. Freddie's telling me you're having a hard time concentrating. I don't want you to waste his time, right? I don't want you to waste my money. But I told her, I was like, listen, if you don't want to play music, Mom and Pop are not going to be disappointed in you. Like, we love you either which way, but you have to understand, when you commit to doing something, you have to be focused. And that's it. And I get sad when I see examples of parents that they're making their kids play music. They say it's for the kid, but it's not for the kid. It's for them. It's for the parents. So they can say, my kid is doing this.
Mostly they wanted to, like, this type of parent didn't get the chance to play an instrument during their childhood.
Right.
Now they're putting their dreams into their children's head, being like, I force you subconsciously to do that in order to fulfill my wishes. And this is very paradox, like very unhealthy, and it's not the children's dream or opinion or step.
Or worse.
Yeah.
There's something worse than that.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Which is, they're doing it so they can say, my kid's going to Juilliard.
Yeah.
My kid plays in the blah, blah, blah orchestra. My child, blah, blah.
Freddie teaches my children how to play blah.
You know, my kid play. Like, it's this keeping up with the Joneses stuff.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that expression?
No, tell me.
Keeping up with the Joneses is an expression where the Joneses, quote unquote, are a family that they've always got the best in the neighborhood, and they get the new car, and he's watching his brand new car.
Yeah.
He says, "Oh, hey, Freddie, how you doing?"
Yeah.
Wink, right?
Yeah.
I've got something that you don't got. So that's no, not quite Vink with them cell phone. There, he's got this thing over. He's like, "Oh, I got this new BMW."
Yeah.
You know, it may not be super in your face, but people, you know, like, it's a hard. And I understand how it's difficult, because you see 5, 10, 15, 20 kids, and they're whatever age, and this one can read well, this one's athletic, this one's musical, this one's not. And a lot of our education systems, since they do these standardized test systems, they make us think that this or this is the right way. This is a problem I have with the German school system because I feel like there's an attitude culturally, like from the government perspective, from the business perspective, from the student perspective, that if you didn't go to gymnasium, you're not the best, quote.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever that means.
Yeah.
And I don't like that.
And
because I'll tell you what, I met some kids who graduated from uni, they went to gymnasium, and they have a piece of paper, not all of them, but they have a piece of paper, they think they know something, then they get into the real world, and they don't have experience, but they're acting like they know something, and that's problematic.
It's problematic. It's a huge box that we don't want to open. Like, it's a super huge thing. I highly doubt our school system. It's not the best. I like, for example, the French system much more, because every child gets in the same school. Every child can decide after, I think, 8th grade to drop out or to continue. And it goes up to 12th grade, I think. And it's the same school. Or was it Sweden, France? Correct me. But it's way better because everybody goes the same way. There is no separation after 4th grade, where, of course, all the children know what they want to be realistically after 10 years. Like, that's not going to happen. Like, you can't ask a 10-year-old child, like, what are your life goals?
Yeah,
it's ridiculous, really. But that's the state of mind currently. There is a huge problem with what you just explained, because I, as a teacher, always have to decide between dropping a child because it wasn't the child's intention from the get-go to really participate and learn something.
You explain that to me.
And, but on the other hand, I'd be like, oh, these guys pay me pretty well for that, and I'm kind of like, money is still important. Like, it's an important piece of puzzle, that has to fit. And, that's why we always be like, there's a tip jar, you can donate, you don't have to, but it would be nice. You know what I'm saying? But
David is asking on YouTube, isn't that a similar concept as Gesamtschulen?
Yeah, Gesamtschule, that's right. Every child, gets the chance to go to the same school, and when the child gets like 15 years old, he can decide continuing or just dropping and do like working a simple job, whatever.
This is difficult for me though, because at the same time, I'll give you a couple examples.
Okay.
Tariq Trotter, right? And Questlove.
Yeah.
And Dave Chappelle. And a whole bunch of other people.
Yeah.
They all went to music high schools, not colleges. I mean, secondary education.
Okay.
Schools for the arts.
Okay.
Right? Now, I don't know if that started for them at 8th grade or 9th grade, but like, I'm not a trained educator. I don't have the macro perspective for all these systems to think about it. But what I believe in my heart, at least in Germany, after the 4th grade, they sort them into you go to basically trade school. You go to middle school, and you go to gymnasium, which is college prep.
Yeah.
And me, for example, I didn't become a good student until I got to university. And then even there, I didn't really find out what my biggest strengths were when I started painting and drawing. And even then, I didn't, I left college and I started performing to find out that music was like, I had been playing guitar, but I was a late bloomer when it comes to a lot of these things. Not everybody learns at the same pace, so it's hard. It's on one side, like the idea that everybody has the opportunity to go to the same place.
Yeah. Cool.
However, the other side is we need to do better about understanding who kids are and where their strengths are. Because
and outline them, because no matter what system you use on the planet, most of the schools, they don't outline the skill, you know. They always underline what you have to do, what you have to learn, and they always, you know, it's always a downgrade if you get an F. Nobody's saying, like, I had no teacher who was like talking to the guy who wrote an F. It was just shame, you know. It was not like, this is an opportunity to get better. Right. Why was it so bad? Right. You know? And sometimes it, you know, during that age, sometimes it's not just, you know, I wasn't preparing enough. Sometimes it's just, you know, I'm in love. I can't focus because I love that girl, you know. I'm 14 years old. I can't focus on stupid math, you know. And
especially if you're not into it.
Yes. Like, I hated math. I love music all my life. And, you know, people are always like, yeah, all the musicians, they're good in math because it's the same. It's not.
Our musicians are terrible at math.
It's not.
Well, sir, we need to wrap this up.
Oh, really? Oh,
I need to go home. But before I go home, I need to go for my run. I started working out. Started exercising.
Look at this guy.
Because a friend of mine said I wouldn't.
Oh.
So I made a massive commitment out of spite. And I'm documenting it on TikTok.
Don't lose
it. So I got to get a bit of a run in before I go home. So we're going to say goodbye. Thanks, Eric, David, and Jutta, thanks for tuning in. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Tomorrow we've got another lesson. Tomorrow, the kids show is always at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the United States, 5 p.m. Central European Time in Germany. Tomorrow we're going to be doing times in, we're going to do 3/4 time signatures, 6/8. That's going to be fun. If you like what we do, if you want to help us, we've got a digital tip jar set up right here. It's paypal.me/anothermothermusic. We can't really work right now, so every little bit helps. But if you really want to help us, honestly, the best thing you could do is share this, tell people about it, especially folks who have kids or grown-ups who have never really grown up. Right?
Like him.
Like me. All right, here we go.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Goodbye,
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 goodbye.
We'll see you next time. Goodbye,
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 goodbye.
We'll see you next time.
One more time.
Goodbye,
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 goodbye.
We'll see you next time. Goodbye,
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 goodbye.
We'll see you next time. I never really put my guitar back in tune.
All right. See you guys.
Later. Till next time.
Later. See you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye. Bring me a little water.
Oh, thank you, Andrea.
Sylvie. Bring me a little water.